could still go towards the Azir like you're talking about, but Ahri isn't a bad matchup into the Azir either. So I don't mind the Naafiri first pick, just given the fact that you can predict down the tier list what's coming.
Yeah, I wonder what jungle Gideon's going to lock in here, as there's still a few picks available. The Pantheon and Nocturne are gone, but which is also technically a flex pick. But I wonder what his game plan is here, because you lock the Azir. We've seen like Azir Lee Sin and Azir Viego be a strong duo in the past, but not sure what he's going to be looking for. It could be Poppy jungle.
That's true. Actually, wouldn't mind
it. High tier pick in general is great into Naafiri.
Yep, you can stop that one sort of ultra engage option with your steadfast presence. Kind of cool.
Opting for the Taliyah, which I think is safer, instead of the Ahri for Vikla. He's played both picks quite extensively. Let's be frank, everybody has this season. The mid pool is pretty thin for LCK 2025, especially with Fearless. It gets thinner, as we'll see Ezreal locked in here as well. So a lot of mobility, a lot of follow-up. I mean, Ezreal follows up really well on Naafiri, and Taliyah engages because he can ult, he can follow up from far away. Kai'Sa has felt less of a hard counter to Ezreal. I mean, it was never a hard counter, but it feels less strong at the moment than it was earlier on this year, where it was like, oh, if you're going to play Ezreal, you better ban Kai'Sa, but still is strong in isolation in the matchup, has great backline access. Not 100% sure how I feel about it, though, into this composition.
Yeah, Gio has found some success on the Kai'Sa in the past, but I 100% agree with you. I think that it's kind of like the Kai'Sa-Xayah situation. It's more like you're just trying to get out of the matchup even really being a thing. As speaking of Xayah, her boyfriend going to be banned away here. No more Rakan to be seen from Kellen. He's a very good Rakan player, so understandable. They are going to ban that one away, especially with the Nautilus hitting the bench as well. Maybe Nautilus Leona going to be taken here by BNK.
I would not be surprised. Could also see a Leona ban here by Nongshim.
Rel is still up, though.
Rel is a classic, and there is no Alistair. I'll ban Braum. I do think that Rel is going to be played, if not banned here, 100% by one of these teams. The question is who ends up playing it, because obviously the Poppy is still a flex. Yep. It's looking like the jungle pick in this draft, which makes a lot of sense. Very tanky, very strong into the Naafiri.
I think a Rel ban is more important than Leona at this point.
I would agree. And I also think that, you may want to play Leona yourself if given the opportunity here.
Ooh, never mind, they're going to trade.
Okay, let's take away the Aatrox. And the Leona does come through snap-locked. So, once they play into this,
top lane
question.
Yeah, top lane counter pick as well, available for Kingen. Does mean that Clear needs to go for a blind. It's probably going to be a Gnar or something like that.
You could go Gnar, but you could also go Aatrox or Renekton here. And be like,
I love Renekton, actually.
Renekton's so great for the single target lockdown. You already have the Taliyah. And Renekton's buffed on this patch as well, mind you. So stronger at level 16. So they'll take the Rel, which makes a lot of sense. I feel like if you take Gnar, as safe as he is, it's kind of risky into this composition. And I'd rather see something that has a little bit more oomph to it in mid-game team fights with the Taliyah pick that they have. So I feel Renekton or Aatrox, but Gnar is arguably the safest blind pick champion in the meta.
Yeah, it feels like the LCK choices. This is
not safe. It's not safe. It's not really a safe pick. It's hard to kill, but it's a guaranteed lost lane.
Well, yeah, but you do have a lot of damage coming out of the jungle, so it gives you some team fighting. But it means that Kingen can play anything, as he's going to play the top lane Nidalee.
Yeah,
that Zeus kind of terrorized us with.
Kingen is like, I will literally play anything. He has shown us that, for better or for worse, this season. And the Nidalee ends up being one of those stronger picks on the top side to punish the Sion. And the Sion almost felt like, to me, it was a denial pick, because we've seen so many Sions into Naafiri. It's so hard to break that health pool. Even with the Ezreal here, it's just so tanky. And if you had Poppy Sion with this Azir comp, the late game teamfights get so tricky to play out. So maybe that was the thought process, but now you're kind of guaranteed this hole in the top lane, and the Nidalee can just split push all the way to the ending if given enough space. I don't know if Kingen's going to have a Zeus level performance here on this pick or not, but it is going to be a tough one, I think, for the Sion and just in general for controlling the early game.
It does feel to me like Nongshim are definitely more looking at lane matchups rather than at team fights. Because obviously, AD in Italy that we are likely to see, which is what we saw out of Zeus earlier on, does not team fight at all. It's just not a thing. The rest of the composition is a little bit dive, it's a little bit disengage. Yes, they have some tanky members, but I think they're going to be playing around side lanes more than for these team fights. And a Sion doesn't care about a Poppy.
This comp, though, when does it fight? You know, it doesn't have a strong mid-game team fighting comp. You know, it needs 2 items for the Ezreal. It could potentially get picks with the Talia, but it's very risky. I feel like this comp, pretty robust start to finish, especially with the Literally in the top lane, pushing super hard.
Well, we'll see how it goes as we dive onto the Rift for game number 2. All right, here we are. Onto the Rift for the second game, and already we've got some thumbs up being thrown out, some things being discovered.
Lane swap detected.
Yeah, something like that. As we've got Kitty Cat versus Doggo, which is kind of cute with the Nefiri versus the Nidalee. Although, you know, Nidalee is sometimes a lady, but still, it's kind of cool. Nongshim now just trying to see where everything is at. And going down the line, let's have a look at some of these lanes and what we expect for the early stages of the game. Because I think one of the big deals is Raptor getting ahead. Yeah. If he doesn't get ahead, B&K, I think, are going to have a very tough time.
He's going to want to have to, or he's going to have to, I think, play through the top side quite heavily post-6 and try to punish this Nidalee before she gets a hull breaker, because when Nidalee gets a hull breaker, she breaks the hull. And you can't really kill her, and even if multiple people come up to try to stop her, then that's when the cross map Azir just kills turrets, and like you always have problems in sides that entire time. There's Grasp Nidalee. She started Doran's Blade. We know what we're in for here. We've seen it before, and Clear also I'm sure has seen it, but he's going to live it now. Yeah, and it's not going to be pleasant for him. I look at the Ezreal in the team fights and I go, okay, well, yeah, he's got great follow-up for the, you know, Nefiri and the Talia. You know, he can follow up at range. His ult is great, but doesn't do enough damage to really carry team fights for you until he gets that second item. Man, Sion is just, he's not going to have a good time, is he?
No, it's not really a happiness type moment. Speaking of Ezreal, he is going to get engaged on here by Lehens on the bottom side of the map. Voidseeker does not quite find the mark, as Vikla continuing to push up, but I think he's probably got Gideon in the back of his mind. Gideon, I think, if memory serves, is the one that had one of the greatest Poppy jungle performances so far this season. And so looking forward to seeing what we're going to get out of him in this game as well.
A Poppy with Prio is a scary thing, and top side, you're going to have that permanently. Bottom side.
Okay, Diablo able to get himself out of there, as now Gio in trouble. Shattering Strike comes in, barrier has to be employed. Diablo does have Cleanse, remember, so doesn't have that extra battle capability with a barrier of his own. As Kellen and Diablo winning out on that trade, and so definitely good to have a point of attack on the BNK side of the map.
I think this 2v2 is really tricky to play out for the Leona lane, and they tried to force it. They thought they had that one angle, but it backfired a little bit. Again, not disastrously or anything like that, but they do end up losing a little bit of control here. Gio will grab a longsword and a refillable potion on this back, and the wave will crash here. Lehen's trying to hold it.
Oh dear.
And, you know, we'll sort of try and do what he can. He might get this cannon. Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Even gets the appreciation zoom in. You'll love to see that, as Voidseeker doesn't quite get the minion, but that's okay. Vikla throwing rocks around here in this mid lane, as Talia, one of his better champions, we could say.
Yeah.
In the previous series that they were able to win against T1, I'm pretty sure that Talia was one of his better games.
So frankly, Vikla had some abysmal performances at the beginning of the year. Like some games where we were like, this is not the same Vikla I watched a few years ago on KT Rolster, you know, but since then, I feel like he's been pretty consistent, and people keep bringing up some of the bad games because they were obviously standout bad games, but I don't have that much bad to say about him in the meta champion pool that we have, as you can see here.
Yeah,
he's doing a good job.
Looking all right, as Lehen's going to move on over, and Vikla doesn't find the last rock there, maybe a bit camera shy after we were talking him up, as Raptor looking to dive in and grab himself his Gromp Camp, as King continues to push. Not a lot of damage onto this turret so far. As you can see, this wave just going to crash in, but not really give Kingen too much space to get any meaningful damage. You can see the CS is negligible between the two top laners.
He hasn't taken his first back yet. Neither of them have. They both still have their teleports. Nidalee, oh, hold up.
Bit of an engage possibility. Shattering Strike, a great answer here as Kellen played that one out beautifully. Still, Vikla a little bit worse for wear as the Cathian rains down onto Diablo. Not sure how that quite makes sense, but it is kind of how the ability's named.
Yeah, it happened and he pressed it and
yeah,
it rained on him, so I think you're in the right here.
Heck yeah.
Raptor is lurking, but I don't think there's really an angle here. Just going to mention, Nidalee doesn't really use mana in this lane, and so can kind of just lock the Scion in forever, and we'll see those first backs eventually, no doubt, but the more pressure you put on, the more chances you have to demolish turret, and this will be the first time he actually hits said proc, and we'll get the plate. And King can just stay here forever if you wanted to, but I think this is probably the best opportunity to go ahead and take it back. Decides to wrap around, though, and keep it a secret.
Ooh, that was Diablo missing a button.
That does happen from time to time.
Yep. Not actually going to mean too much of anything at all. Just continuing to shove. Does have a decent CS advantage, but that is going to be a wave being pushed in, or at least half of one, towards Jew. So he's going to grab that, and there we go. Nice. Look at that value. Even gets Aurora the Slayer. Nicely played. Clear is likely dead. Yeah, Gideon going to move on in as, all right, the train not going to be interrupted. That's why the Scion is picked into the Poppy oftentimes, because the Unstoppable Onslaught is pretty good. And look at this, Clear is still trying to bait, and Nongshim, they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I do think that Nongshim with the faster group up here should feel pretty fine about the situation, although...
Yep, Lance goes in. Untargetable is Raptor, though, as there's another crash down from Kellen. Nicely done. The bleed still working. There's the Flash Emperor's Divide, and that is going to deliver them a beautiful heroic charge from Gideon. Seismic Shove goes wide, and Nongshim able to regroup and head towards these grubs.
Nongshim are just aware from start to finish, every single member of B&K, where they were, the choke point they had to go through. And going back to the question about when does B&K's comp actually fight, well, this was definitely not where I thought the first one would occur, where they would actually commit in, but they did, and it was disastrous. So Raptor will secure this at least.
Yeah, Gideon does still have Flash, as Vikla going to get that Flash out of him. So nicely played, but still, that is just for a grub. And that is to deny the feats of strength there as well. Sweet as well comes in. Lahan's very awkward spot. Does have to use his flash at the same time. And so not a lot of those remaining here on the Nongshim side. As Clear, just kind of hoping that Kingen sometimes stops bully.
Yeah, maybe hoping
a bit mean.
For a peripheral issue. Yeah, at least he didn't have to flash there. Was able to use his extreme tankiness to just take damage and walk away, sadly. That's a bit of a miss there, but that's okay. It happens. You know, he's still even in CS, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I actually feel like Clear's been playing out this lane as best as he possibly can. Has his Warden's Mail now completed. Kingen looking for that Trinity Force, which is going to be the first item of this more AD variety Nidalee that we are seeing.
Yeah, deny a Demolish proc.
Yep. Clear doesn't have teleport, so this damage is sticking.
He has 2 biscuits, but
that is
not hungry.
Biscuits, yeah.
He is going to stay, actually.
It looks like he's going to be okay. Hasn't eaten any of said biscuits either.
Yeah, he's just kind of trying to absorb the pressure and chilling. If you can clear the wave and deny the Demolish proc, you're winning. But in this case, he will not. He was able to do it last time, but sadly, yep, it's going to be another plate on the next wave here. Kingen actually made a stick the turret aggro. Looks like he wants to, but I think he just happily wait for the next wave. This game state here is exactly what you would expect, I would say, for these two compositions. The lead the Ezreal had didn't lead to anything, so, you know, that bottom lane, sure, he's got control there, but doesn't mean anything if you can't get your jungler over there to take the dragon. Plate does finally go over here, Kingen will back. And
oh, that was satisfying.
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of satisfying for the Nidalee, I would say, though.
Yes, no, the plate definitely feels better, but nice for Clear to be able to get most of those minions. As we can see now, just chasing Kingen down there towards the top side, but we are looking elsewhere. I don't know whether Clear really wanted to, as, yeah, nice little pounce.
Well, you know,
gets Kingen out of the way.
He's getting grass stacks as well. He's got to get those.
Hey, there.
Can't just be Kingen who gets those, or suddenly he'll be less tanky than Nidalee.
Which would be very unfair in an already unfair scenario.
He's gotta hit that cat.
Oh no, spear connected. And so now, Gideon making his way up. Oh, he's hex splashing. and not really too much more going to happen. Raptor moving towards the top side, and here having a look in the bottom lane, it is a slight lead from Diablo, but nothing too much there to speak of. So looking up at the top of your screen, about 800 gold is going to be what separates BNK and Nongshim.
A back here to come through from Kellen is interesting.
Oh dear. Kingen is going to have to try and pounce his way out of this one, but I don't know whether it's necessarily going to work. There's the flash, as Kingen didn't quite have the pounce cooldown back off yet. And so now with no flash, it might be a little bit more dangerous to play out this top lane as some rocks go down in the mid lane and another Emperor's Divide being looked for and will be found. The flash comes through, but it's still going to slam Vikla into the wall of Sand Soldiers. And Gideon and Calyx look real good with this combo.
Yeah, really clean here from Calyx and Gideon. And Vikla didn't respect it. Tried to flash, but it was too late. And he is slammed into the wall just the same. Really good play there from the mid-jungle duo of Nongshim. And topside, Raptor didn't commit the ult. Decided not to try to chase King and was happy with the flash, but I don't know if he should have been, as it's just going to be a TP back to lane, and the harassment continues.
-1, unfortunately, there for Nongshim. Things were looking so good until the cannon was missed. As Kingen here towards the top lane is going to miss that last spear, but now has his Trinity Force complete.
Yeah. That's a bit of a large problem.
Yes.
Not a lot of good news here for BNK just yet. Kellen has control of this choke point. They do have the TP in from clear. See if they can turn this into a team fight, but it's so awkward.
Yeah, there's the crash down from Kellen to try and get him out of there, but that's a decent wall. Gideon gets rid of 2, though, and then the heroic charge onto Vikla. He puts down some rocks and tries to get rid of them, but Lahens just catches him out, and Calyx grabs another one. Now they're looking to make their way back in as Kellen finds a Magnet Storm. Lahens gets the Solar Flare gorgeously, though. Another heroic charge. Gideon is on an absolute tear today. My God, this guy.
And Diablo just wasn't even there. There's no damage in this fight once you lose your Talia. And now Kingen is just back where he belongs in the top lane.
Yeah.
So he'll take a little bounce there, but I don't think he really minds. Calyx picks up a plate. Additionally, on top of all the damage done here,
1-0-3 on this Poppy. My God, Gideon is just a man possessed.
The fight was saved by him, as you called out in the fight, as it looks like, okay, this is the best angle BNK can hope for. Lahens just kind of isolated himself here. Weaver's wall is perfect, although his situation zoomed to be positive there. You're like, oh, they lose unless Gideon gets the 2-man. And then now it's a 3v3, and Calyx has Prio, and guess who's dead? Your only damage dealer, Vikla, because look where Diablo is. He's in the bottom lane. He's chilling. He was catching a wave. And the Kaisa is here. The damage is unreal. Gideon plays this fight so beautifully. And then gets the grubs as well.
Yeah. Unless this is indicating that there was a steal. 300, 200, Trisha Barrage. There we go. Nicely done by Diablo.
See, Diablo was helping, actually. He was there. Never mind.
And this is actually really huge because it does mean that BNK are now even. 3-3 as far as grubs. No Void Mites now available for Nongshim, and that might be something that they can rely on later on. Good flash there from Clear, but still has to use it to avoid Gideon, who's continuing to be everywhere.
Kingen wishes they had that 4th grub, because he's PvE this game.
Yes.
But he's still like, well, I guess I'm still hitting the Scion. It's fine.
All right, Gideon going to move on over.
Fighting for blue buff here.
Hens and Kellen spot one another. Raptor does find the smite. That's nicely done. That is just Nongshim backing away, continuing to have almost a 3,000 gold lead as the Scion heads down towards that bottom side of the map. And we'll be able to grab the minion wave that does turn up. Now won't have that unstoppable onslaught for the next fight.
Yeah, the game is not done, Atlas, but it's feeling like it may be spiraling towards an insurmountable lead here that Nongshim have. 4 kills to 0, 3,000 gold, lots of plate gold picked up. The Scion obviously getting bullied. But I want to go back to the draft because I feel like if you had picked Renekton or if you had picked Aatrox, sure, you wouldn't have the same front line for your Ezreal in this comp, but you would have at least had some power in some of these early skirmishes where you have a top lane champion that has a lot of agency to get you through those early skirmishes before the Ezreal hits 2 items, something that would work well with the Talia shove and the dive you already have with this Naafiri. And I think picking this Scion blind has been a mistake a lot of teams have made here in the LCK. It really just isn't working out.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're just seeing the symptoms of it all over the map.
Like, the trades there we did see were kind of all right for Clear. And I think that if they are ever able to get themselves into an honest 5v5, then they are going to be able to find some angles. Because, of course, Scion does have the ulti. can avoid the steadfast presence being a problem, and that gives them a way to engage that isn't just Rel flash in with a Magnet Storm. And so that's, I understand, like, the thinking here. But unfortunately, Nongshim are just playing too well.
Yeah, and I mean, if Ezreal has 2 items when all of that's going down, sure.
Yeah.
But by the time he has 2 items, this what is now, right, yeah, at this moment in time, nearly a 3,000 gold lead will probably be larger, unfortunately, unless something really changes here. They were able to pick up the dragon, super late, by the way, but they got it, as Vision Toggle here is scary.
Yeah, Trap not going to... Oh, the little doggo stepped on it! Oh, man.
At least it's not a hot doggo.
Yeah, true. And at least he doesn't need to worry about spears, because he is, of course, the Neferi. So she just kind of ignores them because she's got little doggos all hanging around.
Diablo picks up a longsword. The zoom in there, I think, really showcasing how far away he is from hitting that 2-item spike in this game. And this is just going to be another free turret, it looks like. Demolish procs.
Feats of strength. So that is Nongshim locking it down. Some upgraded shoes now going to be there, as the Unstoppable Onslaught is going to bring the Scion to a wall. And Clear doesn't exactly have a huge health bar and then just gets stunned up. Even the Mystic Shot is not going to connect True Shot Barrage, but it's not going to take down the Kai'Sa before she kills the Scion. And Kingen, in the meantime, is in the bottom lane destroying turrets.
2 turrets down here.
All right, Diablo's getting angry. He wants to take matters into his own hands. It's kind of working, as Gideon is looking for a Rift Herald. And unfortunately, every time BNK go for a play this series, it feels like Nongshim say, all right, I guess we'll take all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, remember when I said that lead was going to get bigger? It's now 5,000 gold off of 3 turrets. They got 3, all 3. And do you get Lehens? I'm not sure.
Lehens going in, gets the flash. That's an immediate cleanse, as the heroic charge doesn't quite do enough. As Diablo then finds an Azir. Lehens also surviving for so incredibly long, as Vikla looking for Geo on the backline, and does manage to find him. Clear teleported in, but Gideon gets another heroic charge. The seismic shoves are just not finding the mark, and it's a double kill for Kingen. BNK are just falling apart in this series, as Vikla, with no more mana left, is looking to try and get something back, but Clear and him just gonna have to walk away.
I keep going back to that question I asked earlier. When do you fight? They forced this one, and it looked like maybe the best case scenario they were ever going to have, as Gio kind of face planted into the fight. They have the Talia, they have the rocks, but still so far behind at this point. As yeah, this one was just it was just sadness. I don't really want to watch this initial part of this fight again, as like Clear gets taken out. Then, you know, you roll it forward here, and it's like, oh, did Lehens get caught? And no, actually, he just helped set up the rest of the fight. Gio comes in here, avoids the Magnet Storm, then goes all in, but ends up getting punished here as Calyx shows up. Vikla is here on top of Gio. Calyx is trying to layer damage. He doesn't know exactly which angle because the fight's so weird. He wants to go for the Emperor's Divide. And then Nongshim end up trading up here as Kingen shows up and picks up 2. Still no Emperor's Divide, and this exchange has the flash. Doesn't need to commit it, and it looked good until it didn't, you know, and these champions don't work super well together just yet. You know, we're almost there, but we're not there yet, and Nongshim are just too far ahead.
Yeah, and Gideon is too good on this Poppy as well, man. As, all right, if at first you don't succeed, let's just go for it again, as he's in and then he's out. As Gio is still in a whole lot of trouble, as there's another crash down here from Kellen. Magnet Storm picks up a couple, as now Lehens looks for an angle. The killer instinct is so good as Diablo. Can they protect him? The answer is yes! Lehens gonna go down as well, and the Emperor's Divide just to get rid of a Scion is not the play you want to see. BNK back on the map, and Kingen is in the bottom lane, doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, Kingen is just gonna keep pushing this until Clear shows up. We'll get an extra turret, so gold lead, slight deficit, kind of improved here by BNK, but still, it's a big team fight win for them. It puts Ezreal closer to those 2 items. We're going to need a few more of these before we can sing their praises here, but this fight shows that it is possible, and it was also not super well played out here by the side of Nongshim, as yes, this engage looks very silly at first. He gets knocked away by Gideon again here, but Diablo is so well protected in this fight. His positioning is phenomenal. He just layers in damage before Calyx can get there, and when they do finally engage on him, they just engage to their deaths. Gio just walks again right into the waiting arms of BNK, trying to get that kill onto the Ezreal, who survives, and then end up picking up 3 kills here in the fight.
Yeah, Vikla is now pretty scary. You can see 2 items now completed. We almost have the Muramana done for the Ezreal as well, as this Hextech Dragon now being started. BNK were able to get the first streak, was that cloud to start us off. So it will just be an equalization of dragons if Nongshim are able to get it, and it looks like BNK have no interest in contesting for this one. So another Chemtex. Oh my god, there have been way too many of these, man. You are absolutely right. It is getting curious.
Yeah, a little suspicious. I'm just saying. I think everyone's kind of turning the other way, but I'm looking like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it feels like there's an abnormally large amount. As Diablo is
This is another engage here as Gideon trying to be the hero, and Clear always finds these angles onto Gio. Raptor looking for it as well. The Magnus Storm, it's just a dog pile, quite literally, on top of this Kai'Sa.
And Gio's having a bit of a rough mid-game here. Constantly getting caught or just engaging in a little bit too early and dying.
Yeah, well, Emperor's Divide going to throw Raptor underneath the inner turret. He does go untargetable, but I don't know whether it's quite enough. They do take down Lahens. The dog survives, and then Italy is taking another turret. I don't even know whether this is worth for B&K in the end, as Kingin is looking for this 1v1 into Clear as well, or is Clear looking for the 1v1 into Kingin? I'm just not entirely sure, but he is just going to back away after eradicating yet another structure. As now Raptor going untargetable here into Calyx, who doesn't have the ulti and is taking a lot of damage from the doggos. The flash forward, conquering Sands, and down goes the Nefiri.
Yeah, Nefiri had to flash earlier, so Raptor does end up going down this time. As Gideon starting up the Otacon all the while. As this looks like a bait here by Gio, but I mean, they have Weaver's Wall, so, you know, it looked like Lahens was trying to go, all right, come in, bait him, sell it, and then we're going to turn, but they end up just getting outnumbered here. The Weaver's Wall was really good. Otacon is still being taken in live, so might have to zoom in on that one instead of watching this ensuing fight. It's funny to watch Raptor go fly, but yeah, that is going to be the Otacon taken just for free in live. Not entirely sure what the vision setup was, as they're looking for something onto Lahens at the same time.
Yep, Lahens dies in the replay, and then is in a bit of trouble here, but you can see, gets that extra life, is now Vikla and Calyx staring down one another, but that is a Nash's and a Leandri's, and Calyx is real scary right now.
If we
this is here.
Look at the back timers of B&K and the very strong vision control that Nongshim had at the top of the map, it's no mystery they were able to kind of sneak this one away. I think even if B&K had an idea about it, it would have been really difficult to get in there and actually challenge without vision, even though it was a very slow Otacon take. You know, we could have just seen Gideon ult them away and say, thank you for showing up, but goodbye. So, I mean, it wasn't really a risky call there from Nongshim, but now it is absolutely going to pay off as they have an insane gold lead on top of now an extra life across these members. I don't think Kingin is too worried, too excited about it, because I don't think he's dying this game, even if they lose. No. And I don't think they're losing, at least not right now.
Oh, Diablo taking a bit of damage here from Calyx. You can see the burn ticking away, but he's able to offer a bit back himself. Those two items are now complete for the Ezreal, as Lahens, he's been in a bit of a bad driver in the past, and that is, once again, not going to quite find the angle there, as Shelly's charge is going to be denied. And Nongshim still just setting up this siege while they wait for Kingin to get his work done. I mean, Kingin was spotted there, and look at that. The Demolish proc, it's just dead.
He three-shots the turret.
Yep. As Aurora the Slayer doesn't quite connect, so Kingin's just able to get himself out of there, and then as the push and pull happens, Nongshim are able to move in towards this inner turret as Gio. Oh god, okay, Magnus Storm onto 3. Kellen finds the angle, and now they're looking to try and send them home. Picking up some gold in the meantime as well as Calyx. Oh god, the Mega Cone is gonna not exactly do what Diablo wants it to, and yeah, this Azir is also a bit of a problem as Kingin gonna get knocked up as Clear realizes that, I mean, it's kind of hopeless, isn't it, trying to fight this guy?
There are a few problems, I would say, here on the side of Nongshim that B&K are struggling to solve, and this one may be the biggest of them, as Kingin, he has Sundered Sky, he has his Hullbreaker, he has Res.
Yeah.
Well, he is withdrawn, potentially?
Yeah, the Crashdown comes in. What are we doing, guys? Are we trying to hold on to just see whether we can buy some time?
They want a pet cat, Atlas!
Well, there's the ulti and a flash that they now have to use as they're just trying to... Oh, maybe they're just waiting for the timer? Just hold him in position, guys. And there it is. The buff is now worn off. And now it's a real kill. Congratulations, guys. An extra 100 gold. Unless they can't... There it goes. Okay, so Vikla is able to lock that one down.
Sorry, guys, Caster Chris. I said he wasn't going to die, but I guess he technically did.
Well, he wasn't until...
They abused the mechanics.
Kill him, yeah.
They abused the mechanics, and they were like, oh, let's wait and see. Well, I don't know if that's really good news. I don't know if it really is going to give Nongshim pause. This flank may.
Well, Clear doesn't have ulti. As Raptor flips over the wall. Lehens dealing with a whole bunch of pets as there's a nice little knock-up. Weaver's World just going to break off the rest of this fight. Lehens trying to get himself out of there. The crashdown doesn't quite work, but there goes the Leona to start this one off. Gideon getting rid of the Scion so they don't follow up with anything more. And Kingin did have teleport, but he wasn't alive.
Nope. 2 kills. Let's see if they can get more.
All right, Raptor going for even more here as the Emperor's Divide now on cooldown. Diablo, they just need to protect him. Another Magnet Storm comes in as there's a beautiful flick. Gideon in trouble though, and down goes Kingin. Sorry, not Kingin, Kellen, the other one with a K. As True Barrage, ooh, looking for the snipe. Doesn't quite get it onto Jiu, who is very, very low.
Very low. Didn't have barrier, but had the locket as well as his killer instinct to survive that last exchange. He's super low now, and they're trying to turn around.
Yeah, Clear really doesn't want to use his ultimate defensively as Gideon taking a lot of damage. And there he goes, and there he goes down as the Zombie Scion actually going to be helping out here for a few moments. Calyx goes golden, and Clear will find a few autos. Jiu just still trying to be useful, but it's so difficult at such a low health bar, and Diablo also playing in similar condition.
This is wild. This suddenly just became this random hands game between these two teams. I mean, in the mid lane,
you say suddenly, but the last game I think was exactly that as well.
It's just so weird to see the fact that Nongshim has struggled to control Prio on this dragon, played a little bit fast and loose there in the mid lane, got punished a little bit, and now, despite being up 6,000 gold, can't quite end it, but they have that, of course, control of the bottom side of the map. The inhibitor being down means that the opposite side of the map, where the Baron is always kind of going to be under their control because someone on BNK has to push out that bottom wave. Vikla does not have teleport. He's the closest one to said bottom wave right now. Could potentially Weaver's Wall over, but he's going to be so far away, and this is a huge opportunity once he shows bottom for Nongshim to actually go ahead and start this objective up. They have so much control over this choke point. There's no vision here for BNK whatsoever.
Oh, look at Diablo, just immediately Arcane shifts forward. That's what we want to see out of this young man as Jiu's in trouble yet again. Raptor managing to pick up the kill pretty comfortably, and that was not the keeper's verdict that Gideon was looking for. Still he's able to run, but is it actually going to get him to safety as Raptor is going to chase him down and say nope, it is absolutely not. As now Clear looking to turn it. Another seismic shove and Diablo's over the wall. Lehen's in trouble. He does have the Eclipse, but it is not enough to keep him alive. Calyx finds 3 with the ulti, but there's no follow-up. Does he need it though? That's the question. He takes down the damage. Shattering strike from Kellen, and Raptor is running away, and I don't think Kellen's going to be as lucky. Why is every fight like this?
I mean, it was so close for B&K. It looked so good for them, but they chased way too deep onto that Azir, and this time Calyx pressed his R button, and I think now he's going to press the right-click button on the Nexus turret to try to end the game.
8-0-8!
Yeah.
This guy is absolutely out of control.
Raptor's going to have to somehow buy time for his ultimate here. Maybe that could be enough to try to defend here. 15 seconds on Diablo. So many super minions though in the base. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and Kingen just does so much damage to these structures as Raptor looks to go untargetable. Clear is going to turn up, and that is going to mean the Nongshim have to vacate the area. So it costs them, 1 inhibitor turret. Sorry, Nexus turret as Calyx. Ooh. Okay, now Nongshim look for the Baron.
Okay,
and that should be the big winner.
I think that they could have just done this off of the outset, done a reset and come over there, but they decided to try to end the game. They did not get the mid inhibitor, by the way, so that one actually stays alive because they walked through it to try to end. So that's actually huge for B&K. I don't think they can deny this Baron in any world, though. They're just going to try to push out this mid wave preemptively to keep this inhibitor alive. Although
the Baron's just taken.
Yeah, they thought about maybe going over there, but it's a little bit too slow, and Nongshim still with a massive lead here.
Yeah.
Let's see if maybe the next fight is a little bit cleaner, because this should be an unlosable game, right? As we'll watch this, the Azir on the flank the entire time goes in for the Emperor's Divide. They're way too close to him.
Oh my god.
And he's giga huge. Like, I don't know what else to say.
It's the lethal tempo version as well. So these auto attacks, like each Sand Soldier stab just hurts, man. True Shot Barrage just coming on through here as I believe that was a dragon. Never mind, it was not. The dragon is ignored. Third Drake, no one cares about. As now Kingen moving back down towards the bottom lane. There is a respawned inhibitor. And Clear just looking for a Mega Cone angle.
Yeah, Raptor gonna hold this dragon. I mean,
it's a bit cute.
If B&K just take this dragon and Nongshim are considering contesting it but don't actually push anywhere, this Baron may not be real. Let's put
double the damage.
Those numbers away. Let's put those away.
8-0-8, man. 16 out of 17. Kill contribution, no deaths. this is the best I've seen Calyx look.
We might be breaking records for damage per minute.
Yeah.
If this game goes as long as for a second it looked like it might.
It's like 1.3, 1.25 or something like that. Like, that's absurd.
Yeah.
K damage. Just ridiculous. Diablo. Yeah, that's a contribution to that damage per minute stat.
After all,
here down towards the bottom side. Yeah, Vikla on a flank angle as well, looking for a wall, wants to set it up. As Diablo able to move out of the way of the Solar Flare. Only one Nexus turret between Nongshim and the first 2-0 victory over BNK of the season. And Jiu's in the top lane trying to make that one happen. Raptor really needs to get in here and start something, and they are going to do so. Out comes the Scion as well, and Calyx is the target, but he's able to, never mind! He's shut down, Diablo gets on top of him, Lehens also to be taken out here, and Raptor is able to follow up onto Jiu. I don't know whether he's going to survive this as King and flashes after him. Diablo, you need to hit those! You need to hit those Mystic shots! As Kingen now going to try and take them on a merry goose chase here, and I don't know whether this is going to change the outcome of the game, nor is that True Shot Barrage going to be able to take down Kingen, but Roar the Slayer might be able to slow him down, and Diablo able to get in there and finish him off. So
base,
BNK still dealing with the base. Thankfully, these Nexus turrets do respawn.
Looks like that second one is going to survive. I don't think it would be optimal to let it die and then get it to respawn at full health. It does slowly regen, but
yeah.
Either way, watching this fight play out, it's a really nicely timed Zhonya's here from Calyx, but unfortunately it allows the follow-up to come through so easily, and Jiu is completely isolated in this fight. Lehens tries to go for the engage, but there's a cleanse here for Diablo, and end up chasing them down here. And yeah, there was a little bit of a mom's spaghetti, hand sweaty here for Diablo for a second, but that's all right, because they still end up pushing the kitty cat away. They defend their base, and this composition does scale really well, and if you keep kind of messing up the fights, I mean, the Ezreal is going to do way more damage throughput than a Kai'Sa is in almost every scenario, and you remember your top laner is a split pusher, not a team fighter.
Well, we've now got a bit of a battle over a blue buff as the Solar Flare is going to split the Red Sea as Lehens goes in one more time. Gideon out again as Jiu. We said he didn't have the damage. That looked like a lot of damage. Only onto the Rel though, and he might actually have to trade his life for it as he opts into a 1v1 versus Diablo. Now Calyx is just throwing them all away. Lehens, can you survive? The answer is absolutely yes as Diablo gets himself over the wall, but the rest of his teammates are all dead, ladies and gentlemen. And Gideon slams the Ezreal into the wall, and now it's a Scion against the world. And I'm having a hard time working out how the Scion lives in those odds. As now Kingen dashing on top of him. These inhibitors still dead for quite some time, and the Scion is just going to be relegated to his fountain. The Nexus goes down, and Nongshim are going to be the first team to 2-0 BNK. Here in 2025 LCK, Calyx having an absolute day out here today.
I feel like he just took Gideon's palm votes away, man.
I know, it's actually pretty savage.
It's actually criminal. I want POG back. Because I want
yeah, they would have definitely gotten just one each, right? And it would have been fine.
Yeah, I want players to be celebrated. I'm sad about it, but
why can't we have both?
I think even though Gideon had an amazing game too, in the early parts, Calyx won the game. The rest of the team was kind of messing around and having problems and making mistakes, and Calyx, he was like, nah, I'd like to win the game, actually, so I'm going to do that. And it was a great series from Gideon nonetheless, and Nongshim, it was trickier than it necessarily needed to be, but the comp worked as it should have. You know, King getting the advantages top side, the Azir scales. Jiu sacrificed himself for the greater mid laner to clean up the team fight. Yeah, and that's what went down in most of this late game of game 2. And like I said, it's the first time BNK gets 2-0'd. I'm 0-2 for Preds today. I thought DRX was on the rise. I thought they were on the way back. I thought KT was looking down. Not to be so. And in this series, another 2-0 where I'm wrong, where I thought BNK, after the win against T1, the momentum they had was going to be good enough here against a shaky Nongshim, and then they just got absolutely blasted in this series.
They did, and a lot of the woes for BNK kind of coming back in ways that we kind of thought were fixed.
Yeah,
right? Like
the drafting?
Yeah, like fun drafts and being able to like play around these young guns that they have. Instead, we get, you know, clear on Scion, and then these leaving up the 2 I'm immune in circles type champions. That was a little bit of a worry for me, but I think we need to focus on the Noodles. Because the Noodles, there was no sand. It was just delicious noodles. They were at the beach. Nothing was messed up. No one left their chopsticks on the sand. It was just beautifully done.
Yeah. Shinramyun and a Cass. And no worries to be found. And
there's not a better way to live your life, Will.
No, there really isn't. I think Calyx, in games like this, if you guys didn't watch Challengers, you got to see a glimpse of the potential that Chronicler has been spouting for since Calyx debuted in Challengers.
Yeah.
Because we knew he was rough around the edges. He did not prove himself in the LCK last time around. And when he came onto the starting lineup, we were all like, okay, well, Fisher, maybe it's time to give him a little break and see what happens. But he has gone from strength to strength, and this was the peak. I think the best Calyx game individually we've seen in the LCK. He put his team on his back, and in moments like this, he just straight up won the game.
Oh my god. The amount of damage with his Sand Soldiers is pretty ridiculous. And yes, B&K are able to take him down in this particular play, but they have to extend so far in order to do so, and it really felt like too little too late. I want to shout out Kingen as well. I feel like it's really hard to adjudicate how a Nidalee is supposed to go in a game like this, because you're never supposed to go for a team fight. You have to be drawing your opposition around the map, and I think that Kingen, much like Zeus, played it almost exactly the same, because you have to be kind of crazy.
He also played the team fights really well when he did show up. He actually helped clean up with Calyx a lot of these big fights, and became this insanely tanky, unkillable, mobile champion that got on the top of the backline constantly and added an additional amount of damage.
Yep.
It really was, outside of Gio's individual performances in the second game, I feel like Nongshim looking like they're back to LCK Cup form.
Yeah, I have to say, I like the Nidalee more than the Diana.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go with here.
And the Anivia.
Yes, yes. Although, I put Diana well and truly at the bottom. Still, Nongshim, great performance here, and this is going to put them ahead on the standings over another team that was even with them at 3-3. And so Nongshim now, I believe, moved to outright 4th place, but still waiting for some more matches to occur. Calyx, yeah,
almost
20K
1.5, almost 1.5k damage on this Azir. Pretty insane performance from this guy.
That's a pretty good DPM stat.
Yeah, and he also had a great
that's
laning
his
phase.
first match win.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
I mean, I don't like to talk about it, but remember the last times he played, it was a really rough time for Nongshim, and he will pick up player of the match with a pretty phenomenal Rise performance as well. In terms of KDA,
it's so binary
across the series.
What does that say in computer? I kind of want to know. It's just ones and zeros, man. Oh.
I don't know what it says.
I don't think it says hello or anything like that. But, man, what an incredible performance. Today was not supposed to be a 4-0 day. I actually feel like we were kind of robbed of some LCK that we were supposed to have, you know? It's just not really unfair. But he's got so many ones, and, okay, so here it is. A bunch of ones to celebrate a first win for Calyx. That's what those behind the scenes.
And to put the zeros with the 0 wins of the past.
Yes, and the 0 wins are definitely the past. Let's go over to the interview with him right now, though. Take it away, dear.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Calyx on the side of Nongshim Red Force. Congratulations! Thank you. Calyx, congratulations on the victory, and this was your first victory since debut. Please give it up for Calyx. And with your first debut victory, you got a POM. How do you feel? You know, today's match was so crucial for our standings today, and being able to win with a clean 2-0 victory makes me so happy. How did you feel after winning today? You know, all those times when I was called up, I had never gotten a victory, and I'm just really happy. It means so much that I was able to get that victory today. And you know, Gideon appeared mid at such impeccable timings. Despite the lack of time to build synergy with Gideon, how were you two so able to stay on the same page so well? You know, I think it was back when we were both in CL, we actually did play together. And with Gideon being such a great player and him playing so well, I think it was never really that much of a homework to actually build synergy with him and build that chemistry with him. And game 2 actually looked like there were so many risky moments. So what were the comms like to stay focused? Even if those risky moments show up during game, I think it was just, we were just talking about how as long as I am able to stay focused and play well, that we would be able to win. And do you actually have any favorite moment from today? You know, a lot of our teammates were dead in the moment in front of Baron, but I think we were able to turn it around with my ult. That moment was my favorite. Of course. Let's take a look at that replay then. We were all so shocked in this moment. How did you make this decision in the spur of the moment? You know, I think I saw a really good angle and Kingen was able to poke them down, and I was only able to do this because he set this up for me. And in that moment, I think Talia was the one who actually gave me a good angle. From this moment, did you expect the POM? Yes, I did. And with this refreshing, spicy gameplay, you earned a new nickname in Korea. It's Kalexu. Do you like it? Yeah, I like it. So do you mind if we keep using it? It would be an honor if you did that. And your next opponent will be KT Rolster, who is on a rise. Are you confident going into BDD in the mid lane? No, KT does make plays around BDD, so as long as I can deny BDD and disable him, I believe that we can win. And we'll make sure that we defeat KT to continue our consecutive victory. And although we have some dominant opponents coming up, we'll make sure that we go in with full of confidence. And that's the end of the interview with Calix, and back to the space. Thank you.